Change is inevitable. Across history, organizations, communities, and individuals have encountered moments when the familiar landscape shifts, sometimes gradually, sometimes overnight. In these uncertain times, one quality stands out as a guiding force: adaptive leadership. Unlike traditional leadership, which can rely on established routines and clear hierarchies, adaptive leadership asks more of us. It requires the ability to navigate uncharted waters, to mobilize people towards shared goals, and to transform uncertainty into opportunity. At its core, adaptive leadership is about embracing complexity. When change arrives, whether in the form of technological disruption, economic turmoil, or a global crisis, leaders can no longer depend solely on past experience or static solutions. The problems faced in these moments are often what scholars call adaptive challenges, meaning they cannot be solved by expertise alone. Instead, they demand learning, experimentation, and often a change in values, beliefs, or habits. Adaptive leaders recognize this. They know that yesterday's answers may not fit today's questions, and they are willing to venture into the unknown. A key principle of adaptive leadership is distinguishing between technical problems and adaptive challenges. Technical problems are those with clear, known solutions. For example, if a machine breaks down, an expert can fix it. But adaptive challenges are more complex. They might involve conflicting values, shifting priorities, or the need for a group to change deeply held assumptions. For instance, when a company faces digital transformation, the challenge isn't just about installing new software, it's about changing the way people work, think, and collaborate. Adaptive leaders help their teams see this distinction and prepare them for the journey ahead. Another hallmark of adaptive leadership is the willingness to experiment. In times of change, no one has all the answers. Adaptive leaders foster a culture where it's safe to try, fail, learn, and try again. They encourage their teams to test new ideas, collect feedback, and iterate quickly. This doesn't mean abandoning all structure. Rather, it means being flexible enough to adjust course as new information emerges. By promoting a growth mindset and valuing learning over perfection, adaptive leaders help their organizations become more resilient and innovative. Adaptive leadership is also about mobilizing people. Change can be unsettling. It often brings fear, resistance, or even conflict. Adaptive leaders understand that people need time and support to adjust. They communicate openly and honestly about the challenges ahead, acknowledging the difficulties while inspiring hope. They listen deeply, inviting diverse perspectives, surfacing concerns, and making space for genuine dialogue. In doing so, they create an environment where people feel heard, valued, and empowered to contribute to the solution. One of the most challenging aspects of adaptive leadership is managing loss. Change often means letting go of familiar routines, comfortable roles, or cherished beliefs. Adaptive leaders honor these losses. They recognize the emotional impact of change and provide empathy and support. At the same time, they help their teams focus on the greater purpose, the shared vision that makes the journey worthwhile. By connecting change to meaning, adaptive leaders help people find the courage to move forward. Self-awareness is another essential quality of adaptive leadership. In turbulent times, leaders are often under intense pressure. It's easy to react defensively, cling to the status quo, or avoid difficult conversations. Adaptive leaders, however, take time to reflect. They examine their own assumptions, biases, and triggers. They seek feedback from others and are willing to adapt their own behavior. This humility not only sets an example, but also fosters trust and collaboration within the organization. Adaptive leadership also involves distributing leadership. In complex situations, no single person has all the answers. Adaptive leaders recognize the value of collective wisdom. They empower others to step up, take initiative, and share responsibility for finding solutions. This might mean forming cross-functional teams, rotating leadership roles, or creating opportunities for emerging leaders to shine. By building a culture of shared leadership, adaptive leaders unleash the full potential of their organizations. Resilience is another key attribute. Adaptive leaders know that setbacks are part of the journey. When experiments fail or progress stalls, they resist the urge to assign blame. Instead, they encourage their teams to learn from mistakes and persist in the face of adversity. They celebrate small wins and keep the focus on the long-term vision. This resilience not only helps organizations weather the storm, but also builds confidence and cohesion among team members. Vision is at the heart of adaptive leadership. In times of change, people look to their leaders for direction and inspiration. Adaptive leaders articulate a compelling vision of the future, one that is grounded in reality but also hopeful and ambitious. They paint a picture of what's possible, inviting others to imagine new ways of working, creating, and thriving. By aligning people around a shared purpose, adaptive leaders turn uncertainty into opportunity. Finally, adaptive leadership is a continuous journey. The world will keep changing, bringing new challenges and opportunities. Adaptive leaders remain curious, agile, and open to learning. They invest in their own growth and the growth of those around them. They build networks of support and seek out diverse perspectives. Above all, they remain committed to the values of integrity, empathy, and service. In conclusion, adaptive leadership is not a fixed set of skills or a checklist to be completed. It is a mindset, a way of being that enables individuals and organizations to thrive amid uncertainty. By embracing complexity, fostering learning, mobilizing people, and leading with vision and resilience, adaptive leaders light the way forward in times of change. They remind us that even in the face of disruption, we have the capacity not just to survive, but to transform, and ultimately, to create a better future for all.